Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to some Toronto Raptors news, rumors, reports, whatever you want to call it. You guys saw the title of this video, but we have a really interesting race at the end of the Toronto Raptors bench right now. And I know this night might not be the thing that gets every Raptors fan super excited. However, these are the important decisions that have to be made in order to be a successful franchise. And I'll take it back to 2016 when the Toronto Raptors had two undrafted guards, and one of them, all the fans were yelling and raving about the Toronto Raptors actually selecting. And this was Freddie Gillespie, a Canadian that played for, I believe it was Baylor's, the team with the highlighter green jerseys, and he was hitting threes left, right, and center in college. And then there was this one guy, this one guard that was also undrafted that a few people knew. He was had some big games in the tournament. However, most of the Canadian fans wanted that Canadian sniper to be drafted or to be picked up on the main roster. However, the Toronto Raptors went against the popular opinion of the fans, and they ended up signing Fred VanVleet over Freddie Gillespie. And we all know how that turned out. Fred VanVleet is now the leader of this team. He had a Finals MVP vote, averaging close to 20 points per game last season. So these decisions are essential to get right when you're trying to sort of rebuild a roster. We weren't really rebuilding at that point, but right now we certainly are, considering the fact we were just had a bottom 4 pick in the NBA draft, and we have a lot of young guys. But we've covered the end of the bench guys that are non-guaranteed signing all summer. Just had a video come out on Alex Antetokounmpo, and he's a guy that we're not talking about in this video, but it's came out from Eric Koreen that obviously we've mentioned this on the pod. There's 5 roster spot, or there's 5 guys really competing for the last couple of roster spots on this team. The 5 guys with non-guaranteed deals. That's Yuta Watanabe, Freddie Gillespie, Bonga, which that is the correct pronunciation, Bonga, Sam Dekker, and as well as Wainright. So those are the 5 guys that are really competing for those end of the bench spots. However, the real one thing that's gotten a few people just a bit confused is Eric Koreen's comments on it, saying that obviously Yuta is a lock. We all know Yuta's going to be staying. He really showed out for this team in the limited role he had last season. Proved he was an exceptional defender, had remarkable energy, and if he can get the rest of his game going paired alongside his length and athleticism, that could be really nice. And maybe if he didn't get yammed on by Anthony Edwards, gets sent to the like section, as we joked about on the podcast last season, right? Maybe he would have had an even better season. I'm joking about that, but Yuta is a lock. I agree with Eric Koreen here, but he said that Freddie Gillespie is also a guy that should be considered a heavy favorite. His direct quotes here and is saying that Freddie Gillespie most likely to be given those spots. So that's where we get a little bit. I start to diverge. Obviously, Eric Koreen has some insider knowledge. We're just speculating as Raptors fans and what we saw. And Freddie Gillespie, party in the USA. We love this guy. He became a fan favorite just with his energy during the tanking year. A guy with some positivity, with a really cool story, right? Coming in on this team, one of those underdogs, and really worked hard for this Toronto Raptors roster last season. But in comparison to the other guys on this list, I've made it known that I think Freddie Gillespie is the guy that's least likely to go against Eric Koreen's word to make this team in terms of skill set, just history, and what he's really shown. And this was really furthered along when we saw his Summer League performance, because what we saw from Summer League from Freddie just didn't look right. Now, obviously, there's a lot of holes in Freddie's game in terms of just the skills, finishing around the rim. He was solid at catching the ball throughout the regular season. Him and Malachi Flynn had some decent moments when he was actually playing with the main roster last year. However, during the Summer League, it just was a complete mess for Freddie Gillespie. He didn't look in the most greatest shit. Well, he didn't look in the same sort of physical ability, stature that he had during the regular season. Looked a little bit lethargic out there on the court comparison to his energetic ways that we saw throughout his time with the Toronto Raptors in the main squad. And he was fumbling passes. He was missing open bunnies, missing dunks, Freddie was. And it was a tough look. He still had some nice block shots, which has become a staple for Freddie. He always tries to block the shots no matter how strong the dunker is in front of him. And You know, he sometimes gets poster, but sometimes he gets those highlight reel blocks. We did see a couple of those from Summer League, but to say that he's more likely to make the squad than Ishmael Wainright, who Riker and I are ridiculously high on, right? We think he's a player that's a surefire fit to make this team. And in my opinion, even a Sam Dekker, who I know people don't like him. I'm looking at Raptors Reddit, and people kind of flame me for being a little bit excited about this guy, but it's not due to his previous NBA performances. It's not looking back at his time at the Cleveland Cavaliers and I say, ooh, Sam Dekker, come to this squad. I'm excited. I'm juiced. I'm playing the balloons, right? I'm not doing that due to his Houston Rockets tenure, his Cavs tenure, you know, that meme that we had, right? I'm not playing the balloons out, getting any of that excitement going for that specifically. However, he was always a guy that was pretty polished about scoring inside the lane. He's not a horrific defender by any means, but with the fact that he was not an uber athletic guy, but he wasn't like that level of athleticism where you can get away with it, and he couldn't really shoot beyond the arc, made him a dinosaur in today's NBA. So that's the case. But now, if you look at his Turkish league performances, this guy is shooting 45% from the three-point line. And that paired alongside a guy that has some polish on the inside scoring, right? For a team that is filled with raw, unpolished players that do have that uber athleticism I was talking about, right? To have Sam Dekker come in and be able to complement those guys at the end of the bench, and you know, if that three-point shooting translates into to this current NBA season, I think you take a risk on that. I think you go for it. And he's in the videos with Scotty Barnes. He seems to be integrating himself great. I know that Freddie Gillespie and Dekker and Bonga were in all those pictures and videos too. So that's not to say that he's better for the locker room and all these sorts. Well, there's also things, the stuff about coming out that J.R. Smith said about him that we debunked in the Sam Dekker video. But I don't know. I'm intrigued when I see 45% shooting, and being a 6'8", 6'9" player, that's a guy I'd like to see make the main roster. Now, obviously, training camp, he has to show out, show he's in shape, show he's ready to go. But I think for a guy that played in Europe, hearing his interviews and hearing him speak just how ready he is to go for this Toronto Raptors team, I'm getting a bit excited about Sam Dekker. So that's one guy. And then Wainright. I think I brought him up earlier. I didn't go on as long of a rant as I did with Dekker, but Wainwright's massive. We saw him play in the Summer League as well, and he had some great moments. It wasn't the most consistent of games for him, but obvious first NBA experience right after playing in the NFL a little bit or getting signed for an NFL team. Obviously, he did play college basketball. He's had the quote come out saying that he's a basketball player through and through. Yes, he tried out the football side of things, but he's truly a basketball guy. But his ability to defend was something that was really just, you saw that NBA level ready defender in him playing in that Summer League court, and then having a solid enough jump shot to where you think it'd be going in when he gets those open corner threes, and the fact that he had some hot games, sure there was a couple cold ones, right? That's that level of 3-and-D guy. We've compared him to PJ Tucker in the past. I think this is a player that you need to try out, right? You need to bring him in. And yes, we saw Freddie Gillespie, but really, what is his ceiling, right? What can he really grow into, right? The jump shot, there doesn't seem to be any growth there from the Summer League performance, at least, right? He didn't shoot many middies or anything like that for the Toronto Raptors team last season. So the jump shot's not really there. He's very undersized for a big man. Yes, he's a better rebounder than all these guys. And I'm glossing over Dekker Bonga, who I think is probably going to be in the Raptors 905 system, but he's also a guy that I think if he impresses in training camp could maybe leapfrog over a couple of guys, because he's someone that people have been excited about his development with whether it be Lakers fans, Wizards fans. He had a great season with the Wizards 2 years ago, so maybe he can come back into form. And if we don't trust a David Johnson, a Delano Banton, or a Goran Dragic to stay, right? Well, we hope the young guys we trust to stay, but we'll see if they can be playable. If we don't trust the Goran Dragic to stay, maybe Dekker Bonga can leapfrog Wainright and make that roster as a more polished guy. I don't really know, but Freddie Gillespie over these players is a little bit confusing to me. That's sort of my opinion on this take from Eric Kareen, but I'm excited to see how people are looking, you know, when the media day comes out, who got bigger. You know, it's always exciting to see who put on the muscle, He's got the new fresh haircuts. Who just looks more like a baller, and the highlight tapes look all come out over the next couple weeks. So the Raptors news, it's been quiet, it's been chill the past couple of weeks, so we apologize for the inconsistent uploads, but we don't want to be spamming too much, just reaching content. We'll get all of our season previews and all that stuff coming out as we, as I mentioned, get closer to the NBA season. But lots of fun stuff, so subscribe to Raptors Digest. You know, check us out on Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. I'm messing up the regular outro, but you guys are the best for making this far. You already know that. Anyways, I'm signing off. And let me know in the comment section below who you think should be making this out of the 5 guys mentioned. Freddie Gillespie, Yuta Watanabe. Yuta's on the squad. Let's put that aside. Yuta's making the squad. Out of Freddie Gillespie, out of Ishmael Wainright, Sam Dekker, Bonga, and I'll throw Alexander Dikembo in there to keep everyone excited. If you had to select 2 of those guys, who would you like to see make the roster? The main squad, and then see who else goes to the 905. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm signing off. Cheers.